It's Sunday, May 3rd. Welcome to episode 4 of the Ken and Glenn Show with a guy named Scott. And now, Ken and Glenn. Oh, and me, a guy named Scott. Hey, guys.
You know, we're going to give you a promotion where you're just Scott. I think we've beaten this thing to death. Happy Sunday. Watch this. Happy Sunday, Scott.
Happy Sunday, Scott.
Hello, Ken.
Thanks, Ken and Glenn.
Oh, did we have some sort of extraordinary entrance to tonight's show? We beg your pardon for the 3.5-minute delay. It's all on me and my lack of expertise in the technological arena. But for whatever reason, my microphone was not connecting. And this is a brand new Ken and Glenn with a guy named Scott mic. That's what this is. And the sound is beautiful. Actually, you're not picking up on this. That is just so that I can hear what's going on with my mic to make sure I have no problems. But I'm elated that it all turned out beautifully. But so much for an on-ramp. We went right to the freeway from zero. I like the new countdown. Very nice.
Yeah, cool.
Man.
Yeah. Well, your friend gave some feedback saying she was on standby. And then when it went live, she wasn't seeing it. Oh, I forgot. We forgot to show our mugs.
Well, here's mine.
Just gotta be.
I actually have some hot lemonade en route, so I will be joining you in the town of Mugville here shortly.
And the graphic that you guys see in the background there was made by Lisa Patrick, and she did that and sent it over.
That was beautiful. Well done, Lisa.
Yeah.
Go, Lisa.
And if you are on my personal page, thank you, but I need you to hop over to the Ken and Glenn Show with a guy named Scott Facebook page and join us there so I can pop your comments up on screen. I cannot do it from my personal page. So either go to my fan page, to the Scott McCain fan page, or to the Ken and Glenn Show with a guy named Scott Facebook page, which would be the best place to go, actually. That makes the most sense, and like it while you're there and turn on notifications, etc., etc.
And hello to Ernest. Ernest is always there to greet us and envelop us in his loving arms, and he never fails.
He literally is. He sent me a message saying, literally before the show, he sent me this message saying, just a heads up, I posted a notice on my timeline informing my peeps of your show tonight with Glenn and Scott. Once you go live, I'll share it again. I'm sending them to your fan page instead of your timeline because of the technical issues. And thank you for that, Ernest.
Bet.
He's awesome. Like, the guy's awesome. Thank you for that.
Hey, and could we mention too, because I shared this on my personal page, but we haven't really made it clear that we're not getting that. So hi to Ann, to Jose, to Shelly, to Michelle, to Patty, to Cynthia, to Ralph, to Jamie, to Corey, to Cheryl, and Donnie, who have all said hello to us on my page, but it's not posting here because of the new Facebook challenge. But I just wanted to say hi to everybody that has waved to us from my page. And if you go to the Ken and Glenn Show with a guy named Scott page, as was mentioned, then you can get your post up here on the screen. But we're not able to do that because of a change in Facebook that doesn't permit that. So Larry has joined, Scott has joined, Keith has joined. So thanks to
Wow.
everybody joining from my page, and just sorry that we can't get that up on the screen to thank you for joining us here.
Yeah, that really stinks. So yeah, jump over to the Ken and Glenn show with a guy named Scott Facebook page. Like it while you're there, and that way we can put your comments up on screen. Leanne is joining us from down under.
She is in Australia.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's nice.
I know
Yeah.
Leanne. So awesome.
Yeah. Oh, you know her?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, she's
Yeah.
been on my show. She
You know-
is awesome.
Scott's popular all over the world, Ken.
He is.
Just so
I
you
was
know.
talking
You
to
got to
this
keep
guy
moving when you don't pay your
in
bills, guys. I tell you, it's got,
That's all it takes to get the world to know you, to be running
Exactly.
from the law in every
I
country
always
you
think that,
visit.
yeah, I always think that when I see a resume with a lot on it. Like, Lord, that guy couldn't keep a job.
Yeah, right. So we Glenn and I talked earlier, and we it was a brief combo, and I'm he's like, hey, did you get a confirmation? I'm like, no, and let's go without a guest tonight and just talk about not taking life so serious. So I have something queued up I would like to share with everybody. Do you guys mind if I do
love
that?
it. And in the meantime, Ken, can I just share out?
Yes,
Or
go
what do you
to
want
my
me to do
fan
with
page.
regard to the? Okay.
Or go to the Ken and Glenn show with a guy named Scott Facebook
To
page.
that page. Okay.
Yeah, and you'll see the video there, and then share it out from there.
Okay.
And that way, when people come into the show, I still have 22 people over on my personal page watching. If you guys could all leave there and go to the Ken and Glenn show with a guy named Scott, go to that page. It's a Facebook page. All you have to do is type in just search for the Ken and Glenn show, and it pops right up. It should. So happy Sunday to you, Christy Jones. Is someone working on? I mean, it's Facebook. It's not StreamYard. It's Facebook. Facebook is not returning the comments for personal Facebook pages on StreamYard right now. And so they are working on it. Honestly, I was going to put a post out saying just go over. I mean, I have put the post out before. Go like our page, the Ken and Glenn show. Leanne just posted that on my personal page. Thank you so much, Leanne. That is so kind of you to post the link. She just posted the link to our Facebook page.
Oh,
guys.
that's great. And Leanne, if you could do that on my page, because my personal page, because we're friends there as well, I would be very grateful for that. Thank you.
Hey, Scott, it should, if it's on your personal page, it's the same video. They should see it. Can you see it right now?
No, they're seeing it, but I don't know that when all those folks were coming on, they weren't coming up here. I could see it on my phone where I have Facebook, but it wasn't popping up on the page here. So I just wanted to make sure that they knew, as they were saying that they were there, that I was seeing it, and I wanted to share it with everybody because I really appreciate, everybody jumping on and everybody saying hi.
Know. She said, "Sure can." She's awesome.
Oh, she's the best. You bet.
She's amazing.
So you have a video treat for us, Ken?
I do, and it's about and look, it went.
Please
viral.
tell me it's an hour 25 long.
No,
and Scott and I are just going to sit here and watch the video.
Look what Colin said.
Colin, it should be a goal for everyone. That's our goal. Yeah. Okay, that's you're learning. You're learning, my friend. You're getting with the program. Perfect.
Wow.
It should be inspiring.
Hey, Colin, don't be jelly.
And this could be proof that we really do not have a staff.
Our personal assistant Leanne is joining us all the way from Australia.
Yes.
You need to understand that when we say we're having a team meeting, a lot of people envision a big studio and several studio heads and engineers and technicians. You're looking at the entire team.
Yes, here we
are. Right
now,
we are the team.
Yes. Yeah.
There's Lorraine. Hi, Lorraine. Hi, honey. Hello, my dear buddy Alan Skidmore.
Yeah,
from West Virginia.
Alan is awesome. All right, so Look at that. Curtis made it over here. I believe he made it over from my personal page. If you're on my personal page, click that link that Leanne just dropped in there. Again, thank you, Leanne. And jump over to the Ken and Glenn show with a guy named Scott, Facebook page.
By the way, tonight's show brought to you by the fine people at Mistakes RS, located in cities throughout Southern California, including Bellflower, Canoga Park, Garden Grove, Torrance, West Covina, West LA, San Bernardino, North Hollywood, Pasadena, City of Orange, Costa Mesa, Riverside, and Upland.
Holy crap. How do you do that?
Love that.
That's my impression of, hey, we had a fun talk today, Scott, because you know that we're in love with your voice. So understand that anytime we kid in jest, we kid in jest, we kid in love, we kid in support, and truly in admiration. But we were thinking your voice is so dynamic that it absolutely rules you out. No, this is, I'm telling you, it's not a bit. But we thought about it, how your voice rules you out of certain professions.
Didn't. This was not me. Don't say we.
Well, we were talking.
Okay.
It was my bit.
I was
I'll totally
listening.
own it. And you know what's funny? If everybody loves it, you are so going to claim that it was your bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know that. You know how it works, Scott.
Failure's an orphan, but success.
Yes, if a bit is really rock solid, then he goes, "Hey, we pulled that one off, didn't we?"
Yeah.
So no, I was on the phone with Ken earlier this afternoon, and we were just talking about the beauty of your voice, which we're so blessed by. That's the most important thing I need you to hear. And that being said, your voice would take you out of certain professions, like, for example, being an undertaker, doing a eulogy, going, "Hey, let's talk about the deceased. He was 5'11", 210 pounds," or even how about a doctor who has really dreadful news to give to somebody, and you go on, I got to be honest with you, guy, you got about 3 more weeks to live. Just about 3 more weeks, what we're looking at. Hoping you've got all your affairs in order. What?
I have good news and bad news.
Right.
What's the good news? You've got 2 days to live. How could that possibly? What's the bad news? I forgot to call you yesterday.
Right. The other one is I've got good news and bad news. And which one would you like to hear first? The old doctor joke. And the patient says, well, I've always enjoyed hearing the bad news first, because then it goes up from there. And he goes, well, that's an interesting kind of psychological, angle on it. So sure. He says, what's the bad news? He says, the bad news is you've got about 2 weeks left to live. And he goes, wow, that really is bad. What's the good news? He says, that beautiful redheaded receptionist? Yeah, I'm doing her.
Oh, that's bad.
Oh,
wow.
We said earlier, Ken, when it works, we're all a part of it, but when it's bad, we have nothing to do with it. Yeah.
I had nothing to do with that.
Yeah, you're on your own there, pal.
I'm typing out.
And it's Sunday evening and time for the Glenn Show.
Yes.
There is no guy named Ken. There is no guy named Scott. Show us the video, would you please? There's a whole lot of foreplay.
I'm trying there. Jeez. All right. There are 17 people over on my personal page. We love you guys. We want to include your comments in our conversation. However, there is an issue that Facebook is having. They're not returning comments for us to be able to display them. I can only see them on my phone. And as you can see, I'm not looking at my phone. So if you make a comment on that page, I won't be able to see it. So jump over to the Ken and Glenn Show with a guy named Scott Facebook page, like it, follow it, and put your comments in there like Mr. Donnell just did. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you,
rock.
Bob.
You rock, dude. Thank you. So pop
Thank
over
you, Bob.
there. And Cheryl wants to know who is in control of the gong. We need a gong. Holy crap.
Where's Chuck Barris when you need him?
We need a gong.
Hey, drop a
Hey,
one.
baby.
This is one of my drop a one moments, Ken. Drop a one if you know who Chuck Barris is. Now we're getting ready to discover our demographic. Now we're going to discover the demographic of the audience
we
here.
are.
We're going to find out whether or not we're skewing 25 and under.
The new Glenn show.
I got a guess there.
Oh, hey,
And-
I have, and before I show this video, I have because Scott apparently is, he knows every single song ever made on planet Earth, and you can't stump him, is what his wife says.
There's a period there that I'm.
Okay.
There's me letting you guys know that I'm joining you with the mug. Okay.
So Scott, I've got one for you. I actually thought of today, and I'm wondering if you can name the artist. You ready?
Is this what the video is going to be?
He's
or
not. No.
Or is this foreplay to the video?
I would almost put money on this one that he's not going to get it, but he might. He might.
That's a bad call, Ken. He's
Yeah,
sharp.
I know. Maybe I shouldn't. Okay. By Mir Bisduchesne.
I'm sorry. That was. I noticed Charles's comment, which is so good about Chuck Barris. He was my former boss at the CIA. You got to be deep into Chuck Barris knowledge to know that he claimed he was a CIA operative.
Actually, I had heard that.
Yeah,
I had heard that.
Look at this.
Ernest
Today-
says he was what? He was raised on the Gong Show.
he said he was
I
dating
think
himself.
Cindy's
but he's raised
comment is more important. I'm
Today
sorry.
is National Naked Gardener Day. You know what? We need more. Can I just go ahead and ask the audience to send in as many of those types of comments as you possibly can, because that's
Boy,
wrong on
we are
every
going
level.
down
National
Hey,
Naked
now-
Gardening.
Now, Scott could be Googling what I just asked him.
No, I say that again because I didn't.
By Mir Bisduchesne.
You got me on that one.
Wow. I had no idea who it was until a buddy of mine, he passed away some years ago. He actually used to play in a band. He was a blind drummer, my buddy. Played in a band, and they traveled with Sonny and Cher, if you guys
Wow.
remember that.
Sure.
They were called the Traveling Thunderbirds or something like that back in the 60s. But he always encouraged me to go out with him and his wife to karaoke. And so I would, and I started singing this song with his wife, and I had no idea who this was, but it was Steve Lawrence and Edie Gourmet sang a song called By Mir Bisduchesne. Yeah.
Is that the video we're about to watch?
No, it's not. That has
Oh,
nothing to
because
do
there are
with-
not a lot of people willing to go to a Stephen Edie clip.
Oh, I would.
You know, no, I know, but just a lot of people wouldn't because they'd be afraid the audience might not remember them.
It's
They
Sunday night, and I can announce Topo Gigio coming next.
Oh,
right after
yes.
Steve and Edie. I feel like we've really got into the Wayback Machine, Mr. P.
I don't know who.
Topo Gigio, yes, sir. sir.
Spinning plates next. And,
Yeah. I have no clue.
Oh,
Okay,
we
all
are
right,
really
so-
dating ourselves there.
Hey, anybody over on my personal page, please pop over to the Ken and Glenn show with a guy named Scott Facebook page.
Can I mention that we're still in the opening segment at the 19-minute mark? And
I know,
that's the
let's-
beauty of the Ken and Glenn show with a guy named Scott is we allow the opening segment to take however long it needs to take. There's really no limit to how long we're willing to open. And
That's
I love that. And we're not restricted by networks to shut us off at exactly 90 minutes.
Oh,
So we may go 93. We might go 95 tonight. We don't know what's going to happen. Stay with us. Stay tuned.
all right. Let's show this video. You ready?
Yes, please.
Let's do it. Hold on. Why isn't it showing up? Oh, there. Let me get rid of Leanne's comment. And here-
This is the one we spoke about today.
yes, it is. Here we
You
go.
guys fasten your seatbelts. This is just wrong on every level and yet so much fun.
It's fun. Here we go.
Can you turn up the volume?
I cannot.
Okay.
Hello? Hello? Let me out. Where the fuck am I? Hello? Hello? Let me out the fucking bag in here. Put the letter. Where the fuck am I? Is that priest I can hear? That fuck. Let me out. Hello? Hello? Stop the mask. Stop, I can hear you. Hello? Hello? Please. Hello? Who's there? Hello? He's in shaming. I'm in the box. No, I'm fucking front of you. I'm there. You gotta hear that. That's me. Hello again. Hello. I was called to say goodbye. I'm going to die. I'm afraid to say hello again. Hello.
Did you guys see that when it first came out?
I did.
So
I've never seen that.
That was
The guy recorded that
Yes.
to be played at.
he worked on it for a year with his daughter. He found out a year prior to his passing that he was terminally ill.
Yeah.
Obviously, he was Irish, and he worked on that with his daughter to have that played and set it all up to be played at his funeral.
Mm.
Wow.
That is somebody that I love that, man. He's not taking life so serious.
Well, and he's being
Or
mindful. He's
that
being
matter.
mindful enough to reach out and anoint people in the, posthumously with his essence still being present in the moment to help escort them through that moment. I think it's actually, among other things, it's not only creative. I think it's genuinely thoughtful.
Talk about planning ahead. I've talked here before about my mentor, Grady Nutt. And one of the things that Grady did, talk about foresight. He recorded the talk, surreptitiously recorded the talk that he had with his sons. They were different ages, so he had it separately. So his eldest son, for example, he recorded the conversation, the dad talk about the birds and the bees.
Mm.
When his son was, I don't know, 11, 12 years old. Now his son gets married and they hand him the tape and said, now, when you get to the hotel, there's just a special message that I really want you to listen to.
Oh, nice.
As you get to the hotel. And they get to the hotel. And back then it was a cassette. It hit the button. And you could hear the son going, oh, Dad, gross. Oh, no. They do what with what? You got to be kidding.
Mhm.
And that's what they listened to on their wedding night, was to the dad explaining
Oh my god!
the facts of life.
Oh,
That's as good as I've ever heard. That was just the best.
that's awesome.
Honey, press pause. I'm going to execute that move, and then press play again, and we'll take it from there.
Oh, that is so good.
Oh man!
So I've got an idea. Let's
Yeah.
let's use that video as a launching point into the importance of having a sense of humor in this life and what role a sense of humor has. And specifically, gentlemen, I'm going to ask the two of you a question. What are some of your favorite practical joke moments that you have either engineered or been on the receiving end of?
Hmm.
I'm sure you guys have some great practical jokes that you've been associated with.
I can't think of any that I've been associated with.
And that includes our guests, if our guests wish to chime in with regard to, and we have an open door policy, know that every week, whatever you want to chime in with, please bring it.
Unless you're on my personal page, then you have to go over to the Ken and Glenn show with a guy named Scott Facebook page, because I won't be able to display your comments. That's what that scrolling banner says.
I mean, gents, there are those who could watch that video and decide that was irreverent. Among other things, they could label it irreverent. I think it's quite the opposite. I think it's reverent. I think it's beautiful. I think it's fun. I think it is an accurate depiction of who this person was in life. So I say to that, yes, yes, and yes.
I agree.
But I'm just curious, what do you guys think about the importance of a sense of humor in wellness in general and enjoying your life and being able to live with a smile on your face instead of walking around with a frown all the time?
Well,
Yeah.
it's a great question, Glenn. My thing I've always gone by is that the person who said, "He who laughs last laughs best," got it all wrong. It's that he or she who laughs lasts. That perspective of humor is so critical. There's a difference between humor and this came from my mentor as well. There's a fundamental difference between humor and comedy, and both are wonderful. But comedy is the fun that you invent, and humor is the fun that you notice. And
I like that distinction.
Isn't that a great distinction? And so we comedy helps us, but humor comes to us as well on the wings of insight. And it's and it can be a funny line. A comedian can give us humor. I've used the line here before, but when George Carlin said, "Why do we drive on the parkway and park on the driveway?" I never thought about that before, even though I'd done it forever, right? But it's just, you laugh, but it's also illuminating. I love Mr. Cheryl. "Rubber snakes made my last husband's life miserable." He was.
I love that. That's what that earned him the title of last husband.
I know.
My last husband. What have we figured out makes your current husband's life miserable?
Right. Oh my God.
Lorraine had one up here. Did you highlight Lorraine's story about tickets to Cozumel? They were driving around the airport on their wedding night. I think.
Hang on, let me find it.
It's back up there right in front of Ernest's comment.
There it is.
It says, "On Mike and I's wedding night, my aunt, travel agent, had us driving around an airport our honeymoon night trying to find our tickets to Cozumel."
Oh, wow. She had them on her the whole time.
Oh, no. Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
That's a great way to become a former aunt.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. I had somebody just I think it was Cindy popped up there that I wrote this in my book, this story about this guy I know named Gary, and he was in the recovery community with me, and he said he hated organized religion. He was just anti-organized religion. And so he said he knew he had to pick a higher power. So he decided he was going to pick Harvey, the invisible 6 foot, 3.5 inch rabbit from the movie Harvey. Right. And that was his higher power. And he literally would talk to Harvey. Now, most people go, "Oh, he's just some quack drunk guy." This guy was actually the president of a humongous medical association for the whole state of Ohio. In fact, one time he went to speak in front of Congress, and he dressed in all white. He wore a white top hat. He wore a white shirt, a white tie, or a bow tie, a white vest, a white overcoat with the long white tails. I mean, he looked like something out of a 40s movie, all dressed in white shoes, white socks, everything, had a white cane. And that's how he addressed Congress. The guy was just like eccentric. But every time you'd go up to him and say, "Hey, Gary, how you doing?" He'd say, "You know what, Scott? I'm having the best day of my life. And not only that, I get to be here talking to you right now. And I just can't think of anything better than that." And that's how this dude lived his life.
Oh my God. This is like a cousin of Taxi Terry.
Yeah, really.
I mean, it absolutely sounds like it's part of that
So
bloodline.
He literally, this guy was diagnosed with cancer, and literally the last day of his life, he was in the hospital at Ohio State University's cancer hospital. And 2 hours before he died, a nurse walked in, and it was a buddy of mine's mother was his nurse at that moment. And she says, "Hey, Gary, how you doing?" And he goes, "You know what?" And he was very close to checking out, but musters up with all the energy he had. He said, "You know what? I'm having the best day of my life. And not only that, I get to be here in this beautiful new hospital with all you amazing doctors and nurses here taking care of everything I need. I just can't think of anything better than that.
Mm.
And like 2 hours later, he died. But that's how he went out. And then at his funeral, he made sure that it wasn't a funeral, it was a celebration of life. And he had these buttons made up with a white rabbit, giant white rabbit on them. And they all said, "I'm having the best day of my life" on them. And it was a celebration. He didn't want tears and the guy was absolutely amazing human being, and people thought he was crazy. They thought he was crazy. Nobody's that happy. You're going to crash and burn. And, you hear things like that. Like, and the guy, he died, but we all die, just like the Irishman I think it's an awesome video.
It is. It is an awesome video. Hey, speaking of awesome, did you see Robert Brooker's comment, which is about 4 pages long? And I don't know how to read the end of it.
Oh, it's because it cut off. It's too long of a comment.
So we can't even get it on the screen, can we?
No, it would take up the whole screen. Here,
It might obliterate all 3 of us. That could be fun.
No. Hey, where'd the guy named Scott go?
So put it up on, I'll read it and we'll get partly done with it. And then maybe Robert can pick it up and finish it. But it says, "This one is subtle and took effort, but every Friday while I sold bus tickets at the downtown terminal in Toronto, Fridays, I only deposited in the vault $20 bills and a little change for 1.5 years. Friday was $20 bill day. I just had a feeling that somewhere in the trail that money takes, there is a guy that might just notice that. And once it is realized that there is an ongoing thing, he may just raise one eyebrow slightly. And that thought made the effort worthwhile, the big," and then that's it.
Well, here's
And
the
it
rest.
trails
Here's the
off.
rest of
Oh,
it.
here we go.
Okay. The big bills are easy to get rid of, but sometimes begging was required to dump the 10s, the 5s, the 2s, and the 1s. Wow.
Jeez.
Wow. Well, thank you. Thank you for that, Robert.
Robert.
Hey, I've got one from Don Rickles, as long as we're name dropping tonight. Don Rickles, and this is one that I had heard of. And you know what's fun, guys, is when you have heard a story and you don't know if it's true, you kind of figure it is, and then you hear it from the source. And actually from the source, it's even a little bit better. But this was a story that I had heard probably 10 years or so before I had a chance to meet Don Rickles. And I had written a script to perform with Don, the 2 leads in a series for a pilot, and got it to Don, and he loved it and called me and invited me backstage at the Paris Hotel. It was actually right after the Paris first opened, and we watched Don's show. Carol and I went up and saw the show and went backstage. And when we went backstage, we talked about the show for a bit, and then he told me this story. And the story is that he and Frank Sinatra, when Don was first coming up, of course, Frank was so iconic, and everybody wanted to be friends with Frank. And so Don was just doing a nightclub act late at night, small audiences and so forth. But he would work at some of the same hotels that Frank was the headliner at. And Don's in a completely different area, often, late night bar lounge, and when not a lot of people would be there at 1 o'clock in the morning to watch him. So he and Frank knew of each other. And he asked him, he said, "Frank, I've got a gal that I'm going out with this Friday night." Do you know this story, Scott?
I do, and it's one of I love this story. But
yeah,
so
the
fact that you heard it from Rickles.
No, I heard it directly from him. He said,
that's so cool.
He said basically, "Frank, hey, Frankie, hey, listen, do a guy a solid here. Make me a big somebody, would you, by coming over to the table and, hey, Don, good to see you. I mean, really, really build me up." And she's going to think that is so cool that Frank Sinatra is not only a buddy of mine, but is really into me. And if you could do a guy a solid, that would be really appreciated. And certainly it'll get me in with her, and I'm sure she'll think I hung the moon and so forth. So that was the setup. And when Frank did it, and he came over and saw Don having a late night meal with this woman. he walked over and he went, "Done, Rickles. Hey, buddy, good to see." I mean, he did exactly what Rickles had asked him to do. And Rickles looked up at him and goes, "Frank, can't you see we're trying to have dinner? Don't bother us." And he ran him off, which is even that much, that's even more wonderful than just accepting the praise, is cutting Frank off and telling him, "Don't bother us. All right. We're trying to have dinner here."
That's so great.
Is that the story you had heard?
It is exactly. And I heard, there was a Sinatra, who was it? Somebody who was close to Sinatra was saying from that moment on, Sinatra loved Rickles because nobody had the guts, to play with Sinatra.
Sure.
And he always wanted people to, or he would do a joke and people wouldn't give it back to him. And he wanted that, which is why
the beautiful thing is he got his needs met. And he wound up busting Frank Sinatra at the same time.
Sinatra loved him for that. That's the way the other part.
Which is beautiful. So I share a practical joke that we pulled years ago. I am known as a practical jokester. And we had a buddy of mine who we honestly felt was the most gullible guy we ever knew. And he was so easy to get that one day my buddy and I showed up at his house. And he was on top of the house doing some roofing. And I just ran in. I said, "Is your door open?" I'm yelling at him, "Is your door open?" And we're hauling butt up to the house in this truck. And he goes, "Yeah, what's going on?" I said, I can't talk right now. I'm so distraught. And I know that's going to get him on the hook, right? Because I'm an actor. I can act distraught. I run in there and I'm in there pretending to be on the phone. This is back pre-cell phone days.
Sure.
And I'm pretending to be on his phone and I'm waiting going, there is no question in my mind that we're now down to and 5, 4, 3, 2. And as sure as can be, he's going to come in. He's going to get down off that roof because he's too curious. He's got to know what Glenn is so upset about. So I move into this modality. I'm pretending with a cell, but I go, "Yes, it is. It's right off Barham Boulevard. It's on the north side of the 101. Yeah, you've got to cross over and just beyond it on the right-hand side. Yes, if you're going northbound. And we will be there. Thank you so very much." And that's it. I let him hear the tail end of a conversation that he thought was with the police. And he said, "What's going on?" I said, I can't talk about it right now. We have just found a body. And I said, the police are meeting us over there right now. She's like, "I'm going with you." Well, of course you are, you moron. That's what the whole thing was designed for. So he jumps in the truck with us and we go racing over. It's only about 3 minutes away. We have taken, I know this is, look, here's the deal with practical jokes. If you're going to do them, go all the way. They even say it in the 12-step program. They say half measures have availed us nothing. So we went into, one of those sewer drainage things that when you're small enough and thin enough, you can reach down in there. We reached down in there with a pair of pants that was stuffed full of the LA Times and then jammed boots into it as well and put what appeared to be the lower half of a body into the drainage ditch. And all it was newspapers and boots. And there were two drainage ditches side by side, 2 drainage areas. And he stops at the first one. He goes running up and he goes, "I don't see anything." And I said, "It's not in that one." I said, "It's not in that one," just like this. And we went to the second one and he squats down and he sees the legs. He sees it sticking out. And just as he's gripped, like I gave him about 2 seconds to be staring at it. And we went all the way. We had put some Hawaiian punch and chocolate syrup, which when you mix the concentrate, it looks exactly like blood. And we had mixed that's on the pants and so forth. And it's just as he was looking at it and getting the full impact of feeling, I went up like this and he was standing and bent over and behind his knees just went, "Ha!" like that. And just, I swear he jumped 10 feet high. He jumped 10 feet high and then he cursed us all the way back to the house.
Oh my God.
And I really believe look, I'm not recommending that specific kind of behavior, but what I am saying is the minute you learn how to have fun, that's the bottom line. The minute you learn how to have fun, you have probably added a good 10 to 15 years to your life, not only in quantity, but in quality.
Yeah.
You really, really will have bolstered your immune system. You will have uplifted your joy quotient. You build your magnetism, which makes people want to be around you. And that results in more employment. I mean, it's got a beautiful rippling domino effect that if you're down here in this lifetime having a good time, figure out what is your way to have a good time. And I promise you the benefits are endless.
There's a great old book, Anatomy of an Illness by Norman Cousins. Remember that?
Oh, tell it. I know the Norman Cousins story.
Yeah, and literally, when he was diagnosed, he decided if he was going to go out, he was going to go out laughing, and if laughter really was the best medicine, as has been said for a long time, he was going to figure that out. And so he just surrounded himself. He got every video that he could possibly get of great comedies and a lot of the old Three Stooges and Laurel and Hardy and all that kind of, and he literally laughed himself healthy. And it's just an amazing, amazing story about how laughter really is good medicine. Because as you said, Glenn, I mean, when the body, when you laugh, it secretes the endorphins.
Yes.
That is the body's natural painkillers and helps us, revive ourselves. And so, laughter is absolutely amazing. We were talking last week about how adrenaline is an amazing drug. Laughter and the endorphins that it creates certainly is incredible as well. It's just fantastic.
Now, do you know the first and last part, the bookends to that story?
No.
To the Norman Cousins story? Well, the
I
first
know he
part
lived
of
a
it.
long time after.
That's correct. And that's the back part. But the first part to that story, and it's not even a long thing, it's simply this. He had seen multiple doctors and they had given him the same prognosis, and he ran every single one of them off.
Mm.
The doctor said, "You're going to die and it's going to be very soon." And he said, "Get out of here. I do not accept your forecast for my life." That's the first bookend. The second one, they thought he would be dead within 3 months. The back end is he lived another 25 years.
Wow.
25 more years.
Wow.
Because he decided that laughter was what was missing from his life and that he could restore himself with that. It's
That's
so
awesome.
powerful.
Yeah.
It's
You know, I want to, Scott, have you done a TED talk?
I have not.
You need to do a TED talk. I think that's what I think.
I think you're right.
I think I should do one too.
I think you should too.
I don't know that everybody knows this or not, but Glenn has done a TED talk.
I did
I
not
have.
know that.
Glenn has done a TED talk, and I got to tell you, he tells a story in the TED talk about a duck, and I really want to open this up to.
You should just play it instead of asking me to tell it.
I wouldn't be. Then I'd have to find it.
Oh, okay. I had the sneaking suspicion that you might have queued it up.
No, I don't have it queued up. Bob was there, he says, at your TED talk.
Well, what it was my buddy Ron Schock, who used to travel around the country. He was telling me, look in the newspaper, there was an article that said, "Man killed by duck." Not even a duck. Wasn't even correct English, just man killed by duck. Well, how do you not explore that?
Yeah.
You've got my attention with that as your opening. And so I look into it. Apparently there was a gentleman down in the Gulf Coast region, the panhandle of Florida, and he was jet skiing, going down one of these waterways where the water's fairly calm. And he is, wah, 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 wah. He's buzzing down the waterway. And here comes one of these low-flying ducks, which is, he's like this, man, with that neck stuck out. And, man, he is bringing it, Jim. And that thing smacks the jet skier right smack dab in the middle of the forehead and kills himself and the duck while his buddy is videotaping it.
Oh my gosh.
So he has his best bud's death, and the death is courtesy of a duck. And Ron's response to this, he said, "Now, brothers and sisters," and he was from Amarillo, Texas. And this is the way he says. He says, "Brothers and sisters, do you know that the number of people throughout history who have been killed by a duck is still in single digits?" and I have always lived every day of my life for the last 55 years. I have believed that we die on the day we're supposed to die. And if that's true, I was forced to wonder, how many ways did God miss that guy that day before getting down to the duck option? And then finally, we both concluded that, I mean, did at some point did it occur to his buddy to yell out to him, "Duck!" And
Or did the duck think, jet ski?
Right, exactly. And then finally we concluded that, oh well, you never know, maybe it was just the duck's day to die. Isn't that a great story?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, great.
Is it true?
It is a true story. Man killed by duck.
Wow.
Do we have some other chime-ins here tonight?
Lisa Patrick. Lisa, I don't know if you were here, but I gave you a big thank you and a shout out at the beginning for creating this beautiful graphic behind us. Wonderful graphic. There she is. She's here.
Well, let Lisa know that because of her extra mile effort to do that I will get rid of someone. I will tour Facebook and lose somebody so that I can accept her Facebook request, because I noticed she had reached out to me. So no offense, I'm at my max, but if you're going extra mile, I will go extra mile. I'm sure that there is someone who I can part with and welcome you into that. Oh, what did Bob say? It got a good laugh at Ted. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Dennis said, "Killed by a bill to the head."
Yes.
Holy moly.
The only thing that would have made that story better is if it wasn't current and it wasn't a jet ski. It was just a guy on regular skis. And if it had occurred so many years ago that the president of our country at that time was Mallard Fillmore.
Oh, my
Oh, there's Doug
good.
LeBeau. My buddy Doug LeBeau from Los Angeles, California. Hello, Dougie. Big shout out and love to you. Doug was the head of the music program at the Spiritual Center that I was a member of for many, many years in LA, and now has his own spiritual center up in, I think Doug is up in the Victorville, California area. And love to you, Dougie. What a wonderful, wonderful man.
Former home
So-
of the Roy
so-
Rogers Museum there at Victorville.
What is it?
Victorville used to be where the Roy
Rogers,
Museum
yes.
was, and then they moved it, and now they've closed it. But I went to the
Wow.
Roy Rogers Museum one time, driving from Vegas to L.A., and just had to see it.
Oh,
So,
he said Apple Valley. Yeah. Scott, were you and I separated at birth? We seem to know the same. You and I are containers of the same amount of useless information.
yes, exactly.
It's like if I have something that's completely worthless, the first thought that comes to my head is 10-1 Scott will know it.
I've had no time here. That's just crazy. Isn't it? Oh gosh.
I feel like this needs to be you guys here.
But somebody got their feelings hurt a little bit. Hey, come here. Come here.
No,
Come here.
not doing it.
Lean
No,
over. Lean
No.
over.
leaving.
Lean over. Let me tickle you and make it a little bit better. Come on.
Oh man. It's funny how your brain can recall certain things and not. I tried out for Jeopardy one time, and it was crazy because of how when we were playing the game, right? They screen the contestants, take a test to get down. So that now they've got the 12 finalists. So you play the game against these other contestants. And one of the categories was world leaders. And the answer was leader of the Soviet Union with the red birthmark on his head. And I couldn't think of Gorbachev if they'd had a gun to my head.
Yeah.
Oh,
And then the $1,000 question at the bottom was leader of Saudi Arabia during the 7 Days War. And I went, King Khalid. And that was right. And where that came from, I have no idea. But isn't it sometimes the obvious things we catch ourselves going, oh, I guess that's on the tip of my tongue. You can't think of it. And then something so obscure that you don't even know that just pops back up in an instant.
And name Millard Fillmore's middle name, and you immediately know that it's Antheus or Bartholomew or whatever. And that is a very, very different thing.
Yeah.
Doug is at the High Desert Center for Spiritual Living. For those of you who live in the Apple Valley area of Southern California, go see my buddy Doug LeBeau.
Very cool.
and Kelly Combs, where is your picture, Kelly?
What would be sad is if that were her picture,
It's not.
Ken, and you're making fun of her. What if Kelly is just one of the less fortunate? And
That
she
would
is
be-
one of all, and for starters, she's that white. And she's standing.
It has that
What
little alfalfa thing on her
Right.
hair.
What if she
standing
has
up
an
there?
alfalfa
That's,
thing? She's that
Right.
white, and she is standing outside on a cloudless day, and you have just made fun of her.
I'm sorry.
By the way, guys, it's 55 after. We have yet to play. Ooh, that's just wrong.
Mm.
Hmm.
What have we seen this week that makes you go, ooh, that's just wrong?
Let's hear our folks tonight talk about what they saw that was just wrong. I saw a picture of under the heading of laziness. I saw a picture of a run over fox this week, an actual fox that had become roadkill.
Yeah.
And I guess a matter of a day later, because it wasn't badly decomposed. Thank you, Lorraine. Almost as white as Glenn. Yeah. So it wasn't really even decomposed yet. So clearly we're talking within 24 hours of the time this fox had been run over on the highway. And then the paint crew came by to paint the highway. And the white on the side of the road is straight up and over the carcass.
Oh my gosh.
They didn't bother to move it, just include it in today's road work. And ooh, that's just wrong.
That is way wrong. Wow.
There's the starter. Let's play with that one.
Can't top that. For mine was Tammy and I were at the grocery store, and what is it about buying food that makes you hungry? And so there were a couple snack packs in the deli department, and it was like protein, which is what we were wanting, and it was a hard-boiled egg and almonds and cheese. And so we get out the car, and we're going to snarf it down, and I open it up, and I noticed that the expiration date on the egg was 10 days ago.
Oh.
Mm. Ooh,
Wow.
that's
That's
just wrong.
And then when you take it back in and they say they can't refund your money because you've already opened the package, that was just
Oh.
wrong.
That's doubly wrong.
Yeah.
So to sort of blend the two categories together tonight, where we're talking about practical jokes or at least humorous things, combined with that's just wrong. In my practical joking days, back in my 20s, and I was working in a restaurant in LA, and we had a manager who was a bit of a jerk. Not that that's unusual in a restaurant environment, because most of them are failed actors. So their dreams didn't come true, and now they're doing this. So I pretended, a great practical joke, gentlemen, involves setup.
Yeah.
Setup is key, as evidenced by what Rickles did, right? With Sinatra. He set him up. Before you tee it off, you set him up. So I set it up by pretending that I had a terrible head cold. Now, he's got this office. His office is hidden. This guy who no one liked, his office is hidden behind glass. And I walked by carrying a tray and actually stopped and set the tray down and turned my back away like this from the glass. and then I sneezed. And when I sneezed into my hand, I slung it like that. And Scott, what you just said made me think of it because I had broken an egg into my hand
Oh,
before. So when I sneezed, it looks not dissimilar, but my hand is full. It's pouring out of my face. And I took it and went like that and slung it, and it went all over the glass.
Oh my God.
And it looked like I had just blown the contents of my skull completely out, followed by slinging it onto the glass. And that's why I'm still playful and happy at age 61.
Oh my God.
That was when I was in my 20s. Yeah.
That is unbelievable.
So what else is wrong? Hey, Ken,
Craig's in the house, by the way. I got to say,
Craig Guswalt is in the house.
What's up, Craig?
which is, by the way, Craig, we were talking, and it's so funny that Glenn and you are friends and that we're acquainted, and what a small world. That is so cool.
Craig just finished a very successful event, an online event, I believe his first of this kind. Yesterday was a 2.5-day event. I was privileged to be one of the speakers. I was brought on as the closing speaker. But Craig, hats off to you, brother, on a really successful outing. And I received a lot of kind words from your mastermind family today. So thank you for that, bud.
Yeah, that I was there. You invited me to. That was incredible.
Very
And a lot of great speakers. They had Les Brown.
Yeah.
And, he was right in front of me, or as I like to word it, Les opened for me.
yes.
Um,
And his band of renown, different Les Brown.
What is there, Craig? There is no one like him. Oh, Patricia is here. Nice.
Yes.
Nice. So we probably picked up a few viewers from that event, which we're grateful for.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Ken, what have you seen that's just wrong, brother?
Man, I've seen too. I can't go there. I just can't. If you didn't see my live stream last night, then so I really don't have anything left in the wow.
All right.
That's wrong.
I was
You
gonna say
guys
your
talk
live
without
stream,
me.
Ken, was what I saw.
You guys talk without me. I'm gonna.
Oh wow.
Ooh, I saw Ken's live stream last night, though. Ooh, that's just
Hey Scott, thanks for being here.
gone.
And yeah. So
you're
here's the
gonna
deal.
forget who's got the big button.
let me play neutral because I kind of slide back and forth between Ken and Scott. But we are great friends, and it's not an act. We are all great friends. We love each other very much. However, we do not see eye to eye on certain matters, and that's fine because we reserve the right to disagree.
Not completely eye to eye.
Right. And I said certain matters, Ken.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Certain matters. So Ken had some thoughts that he was expressing with a certain amount of passion. I think we can agree, can't we, Scott?
Absolutely.
He was the most passionate I've ever seen him last night. It looked like he wanted to kill somebody online.
It would have been so much better if he'd been right, but he was.
Wow.
I couldn't resist. It was,
Wow.
Oh, my
Lynn set some up.
God.
I knocked him down. It was
You know, what's really cool is I can also just mute his microphone, and now we can't hear it.
And now the Philharmonic sounds of Scott McCain.
Yeah.
Hey, let me
that's
ask you something,
funny.
Ken. Am I allowed to screen share in this format, or are you the king that can do it by yourself?
No, you can do it.
Okay, so I'm going to just get rid of me. You guys talk. I'm going to show you something that is just wrong so that you won't think I made it up.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to try to figure this out.
What do you mean get rid of you?
Well, no, I mean, because I'm not going to be involved while I'm hunting this down. It won't take me more than a minute.
What is Corey is saying? What do you think about this crazy Asian hornet story? I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that either.
Yeah.
There's so many stories out there. It's hard. It is hard to keep track of
Yeah.
all of the stories that are going on. There's no doubt about it.
There are a lot of stories, that's for sure. And sometimes that's just wrong. So, I'll tell you one thing that I think is definitely wrong. we do have, and Scott, you're from back here in my neck of the woods. You're from the Midwest farm country. And Weldon says killer hornets are here. Where have you been? I did not know that. Well, shit. First it was going to be the flu, and now we're going to die by hornets. Who knows? But you know, I read this story out of the it was something out of the Farmer's Journal or something like that. I saw my brother-in-law posted something about it. Did you know that they're having to euthanize like all kinds of animals that were raised for us to consume? I didn't even know that. And that seems really wrong.
Well, okay, so let's consider that for a second. So if what's the farmer supposed to do with them?
No, I know. No, I'm not saying that I they have to, right? But they can't process it. They can't,
and they can't afford to continue to feed them. I
right,
mean, that's
exactly.
the problem, because the farmers, so now there's no place to process them, and if there's no place to process the cattle or the hogs, whatever it might be, you know, then you got to take it the next step. And the real problem that we haven't talked about enough, I don't think, is also what's happening in the dairy industry.
Oh,
Because the problem is that if they have to reduce the size of the herd, then it's about 3 years before a dairy cow is able to produce, you know, what needs to be produced. Trying to think of how to describe it in a generic sense, but anyway, you know, I mean, it takes a dairy cow's 3 years old by the time it gets to full production capacity. So you know, it's not like you're going to replace that in the system instantly, and that's one of the real challenges that's going on right now. That won't. There's no quick fix.
There's not. It's just crazy right now. It's, you know.
Yeah, and Leanne here, I see, makes a great point. I mean, anybody that thinks the farmer wants to do that doesn't understand farming. I mean, it is absolutely heartbreaking for the farmer, and it's, you know, I mean, there is no magic wand that we can wave, and because if so many factory workers at the plants are sick, what do you do? You know, it's it is really challenging. So it's true in dairy, it's true in beef, it's true in pork. It's you know, there's just a lot of challenges going there. And you know what, the problem is the system isn't geared. What was demanded for so long was called JIT, just in time. So everything was timed so that the strawberries would ripen, and then they would go to the processor, and they would go to the grocery, and they would go to your table, or it would go through the corporate system, which would get it to Disney, or get it to the cruise lines, or get it to the restaurants, or get it. Well, now you've got the cruise lines closed. Now you've got a lot of commercial enterprises closed. Now you got the restaurants running on, depending where you are, 10 to 15 to 20 to 25% capacity.
Right.
And
right.
so the system wasn't prepared to get them to other places that it might be needed. And you know, it's one of those things that you go, gosh, it's horrible. But on the other hand, this has never happened before. And I don't know that you can point a finger and say it's somebody's fault, because you know, it never was predicted. And it's one of those things that we wring our hands about, and that, but you know, and Patricia says corruption. Well, who's corrupt? I mean, is it the farmer? Is it the plant where, you know, a significant number of employees can't come in because they're sick? Is it, you know, but it's corruption typically happens when someone's making money in the process, and everybody's getting hurt here. And that's part of and Weldon's right. I mean, it's out of alignment, but there's nobody that's making a killing because this is happening.
Yeah, there's I honestly didn't bring that up to get into
Sure.
a debate with anybody watching or anything else. We know that there's nothing like this ever in the history of the world. Have we, at least that is recorded in the history books, that the entire world, Leanne said, be careful, Scott. Scott would gladly debate me, I'm sure, but
well, I know I wasn't trying to call anybody out. I was just saying, yeah. Well, I mean, we say it's corruption, and that's typically. She's right. I mean, that's typically what happens when there's a blockage in the system. Is somebody's blocking it to make some money off of it, right? Somebody, and she's exactly right. That is typically what happens. But again, as you said, Ken, and I agree with you 100% on this. I mean, it's nothing's ever happened like this before, and so
yeah, it's crazy. I saw a woman saying they were selling, that commented on my brother-in-law's post, that they were getting rid of these hogs and pigs that they needed to get rid of for 50 cents a pound. That's below wholesale.
Yeah.
But like nobody can take them because you can't, the processing plants are like, they're booked beyond the end of the year, and so they're gonna have they have to euthanize a lot. I mean, a huge majority of them. So it's a really sad.
That's
situation.
just wrong.
It is, and like Cheryl said, no one is winning in this situation. No one.
Hey guys, I found that clip that I was looking for.
Okay,
and I know how to do it on the Facebook or on the Zoom deal with the volume, Ken, so you may have to guide me through it. But so if I share screen now,
click share screen
and then share screen again.
No.
Okay.
Click share screen.
And
then up at the top, go over to the right where it says Chrome tab, and you click on that, and then click on the actual.
Chrome has a bug that can cause screen sharing to. Okay. Share screen, and now what?
Now, down at the bottom of that.
Can you see my screen now?
Not yet. At the bottom, click share audio.
Audio, got it. Okay. It looks different.
And then
share.
So no, select the video. Did you select the video in the
I did. I've already done that. It's ready to go.
All right, now click share. I do not see it.
Well. All right, you guys keep talking. I'm going to try it one more time, and then I'm going to bail on the idea.
Okay.
I'm going to follow your instructions, share audio, and then share. Okay, it's not wanting to do it, so unfortunately I have to describe it, which is just terrible.
Or you can send me the link in an email, and I can share it real quick.
Okay. All right, I'll try to do that. Keep chatting. I'll try to do that. This is you're leaving the wrong guy in charge for this. Let me ask you guys if you happen to see, in connection with the virus, I'm not looking to stir the pot here, but I was admittedly horrified when I watched the NBC News last night and what it closed with. And I don't think you guys mentioned this while I was away, but have either of you or have any of our viewers seen the clip of the guy who dressed up on the Florida beach as the Grim Reaper?
No.
Okay, it blew my mind. That is not what I was going to show. But there is a guy who, and it weirded people out, as you can imagine. He put on a full-blown Grim Reaper costume with, the what do you call it? Yes, the scythe and everything. And he went down and hooked up a lifeguard stand for himself, and he just sat there.
Oh my God.
Just looking like this. And of course the news being the prostitutes that they are, came and interviewed him, and he was so against the swift return that he thought he would send out a message. Well, do you think you accomplished that? And I was shocked that NBC gave it the time of day, and they not only gave it the time of day, they closed the evening news with it last night. So there's no doubt that interview will be available on YouTube, Ken, if you want to find that. I mean, it's just, it's just interesting. At least it falls under the heading. And to me, I don't care where you stand, but that might be pushing the envelope of that's just wrong, because you've got children out there, you know, and here's this Grim Reaper guy who's just trying to get how he feels across. It was on NBC Nightly News last night.
Oh, here it is.
Okay. Feel free to share that with our audience, and you'll know that I'm not making this stuff up.
Here, hold on. I'll share it. Wow, I didn't know anything about that.
Yep. Blew me away.
Well, you got to watch the news to see stuff like that.
And I do, and you don't. I know that.
Hey, I've got something totally. Oh, wait, let's watch this. Then we'll.
Look at this, guys.
Oh, wow.
Hang on a minute.
Now that's when they're actually interviewing him. I'm hoping they'll show him just sitting out there.
I'm at Miramar Beach Access 49 here in Walton County, and today is a pretty big day. The beaches are fully reopened for the first time in more than a month. And while some residents are happy, some are not. And one of those people is Walton County resident and Florida lawyer Daniel Olfalder. Today, he's going to be protesting the beaches being open, all while dressed as the Grim Reaper. And I'm actually joined by him now. I'm going to step out of the frame and hand him the mic so he can explain why he's here and why he is dressed the way that he is. Daniel?
Thank you. Yeah, I'm here today to try to make a point that we need to, I think it's premature that we open our beaches. I'm a huge proponent of public beaches, and I've been fighting for that for years. But I think that the danger of bringing all the people here to our area and spreading the virus, and I think it's going to prolong the recovery we have. And I think that we should take better measures. We're drawing people from all over the world to our beautiful beaches. It's too soon, and it's not appropriate.
Thank you, Daniel. Now, Daniel is going to be beginning his protest right now, and he's going to be at a bunch of other Walton County beaches throughout the day. We're going to have his full story and how people are reacting later tonight on News 13.
Oh my.
And as Weldon says, and he's an attorney.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine if he had hooked it around her neck to pull her out of the frame?
I know. Oh my God.
Now, do we need to settle you down, Ken? Do we need to fasten a seatbelt? Does that get your blood boiling? Or, but my goodness, I could not believe that. And the guy clearly has not taken my training, because he talked a bit like this, and it's like, I mean, if you're going to do,
I would have loved to have done the voice.
Oh my
on
God,
that.
you should have done the voice.
That's the
I mean,
one.
if you're
Now
going
you've
to
shown
go
me the
out
one
to
thing
the
I was
beach,
thinking.
if you're going to go out to the beach, you at least have to do something that sounds something like this.
Instead of, well, we was thinking that maybe people shouldn't be out at the beach so soon because it seems premature.
Hey, y'all, I'm Death.
I'm,
How you doing?
I'm just down here at Fort Walton. Hey, listen, if you ever need an attorney, I can help you get off your straight ticket. Okay, you ran a red light, I'm your guy.
Here, Jeffrey Wolf just nailed it. And while he was protesting, he did not maintain 6 feet.
Yes, yes,
I believe in this, unless you're going to
touche, Jeffrey.
Oh, you win the internet, Mr. Wolf. Thank you.
Brooker says, I suspect he may be a wanker. Oh my God. So, yeah, you know what? Billy Bob Thornton would have been the perfect, like,
Yes,
Got you back there.
yes. Say, hey, Ken, I'm just killing me to show this clip. So can I can I tell you where to go?
Yeah, just
go to YouTube and go to Epic Podium Family Feud. Epic Podium Family Feud. And go to the 3-minute 6-second mark. How's that for precision?
Wow.
3 minutes 6 seconds on Epic Podium Family Feud.
The same one that we watched.
Yes,
Okay.
it's the woman there, and
Oh,
the
yeah.
question is asked at 3:06.
While you're pulling that up, I've got something completely off the subject, but it
Do
just
it,
has
baby,
always
do it.
blown my mind, and I want to share it with you and see if you have. There'll be one of these that'll give it away, but I just want you to look at this schedule. Can you? Is it on now? If I'm on the screen?
Oh, here, let me throw it up on the screen.
All right, got that? Look at that
Yeah.
schedule. Okay, now let's see.
Now, what are these? These are
These are dates. These are concert dates. All right. So here, now look at the dates. Look at this schedule.
Wow.
Look at this schedule. And that was, whoops, didn't want to share that. That was Elvis's
that your
schedule.
expected
That was
schedule?
Elvis's schedule before he died.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
That
man.
was Elvis's road schedule
Wow.
the year he died.
Do you know what I thought you were doing? I thought you were setting up a vision board for the Ken and Glenn show with a guy named Scott and
tour.
our dates.
Yeah.
I swear, I just
Our-
thought, you
our
know,
no-collar
he's
tour,
a
huh?
like-minded cat. He's a like-minded cat, and he's got that in mind. Wow. Did you ever see Elvis?
Yeah, I saw him 3 times. My mom was at his last concert.
Wow. I had a chance to see Elvis play live as well.
That was in Indianapolis.
See?
Was his last show, and Mom was at his last show and called. And I'll never forget talking to my mom that night, crying because of how bad he looked on stage. And there's one song that he did that he was laying on his back on stage, and literally they grabbed his belt to help him up because he couldn't get up.
Wow.
And, the first time I saw him was one of his early 70s, and I mean, he was like a panther on stage. He was amazing. He was just electric. And then saw him a second time, and he, the same. And
Didn't they
Mom
call
saw
him Elvis the Pelvis?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
What was that
So-
comment that was up there just a minute ago, Ken? About John Krasinski?
We should have him as a guest. I couldn't agree more, Jeffrey.
I
So
love
give me his cell phone number and I will stalk him until he comes on.
Shame I haven't worked with him, because then I would call him and say, dude, come on, let's go. Did you ever find that clip, Ken?
I did, but I want to ask Scott if he remembers. I don't remember the exact year. It might have been 70. Maybe I might have been about 8 years old, so maybe 76 ish.
Thanks, Ken.
When I know, do you remember
I'm with
the
you, brother.
concert in Cincinnati, Ohio? The Who.
The Who.
Do you remember what happened there?
They had festival seating, and everybody rushed to get the great seats, and people were trampled to death.
My mother and stepfather were at that concert.
No kidding.
Yeah.
And then also there was the concert, or the dinner theater that burned down in Cincinnati and trapped people. So there were a couple really tragic concert things that happened in Cincinnati in the 70s. It's really, really sad.
Were you
Wow.
living back here then? Were you still back here in the Midwest, or?
Oh yeah. I was in Indiana. I mean, I was 100 miles from Cincinnati. So that was a really, really tragic
Yeah. It's
tragic event, and it and eliminated festival seating at a lot of arenas for a long period of time, because the inability to control in such a tight space, the inability to control. I don't know if you've ever been in a crowd where it just seems like you're out of control, you're overwhelmed. But I had that feeling one time at the Indy 500 when everybody's leaving, and the people are just packed so tightly together that it's really a strange feeling.
Hey, Ken, do you remember in tonight's pre-show meeting when you said, it's my opinion, guys, Scott and Glenn, that we should in general choose more uplifting topics?
Yeah,
Do you remember that?
I do.
Just saying. Just saying.
All right,
Just throwing that
so-
out there, right?
Clip.
We're all gone. Here we go. So this is under the heading of That's Just Wrong.
All right.
Listen to this woman's answer when she is asked about things removed from your body by a doctor. Here we go.
This is on the board. Name something a doctor might pull out of a person. Darcy.
A gerbil. I didn't say that.
I love that she says, I didn't say that.
I heard about something like that once.
Yes, you said it. You said it. You said it. Let me just write out like that. That's awesome. First thing you can come up with, just bam, gerbil.
That's good, Ken. That's the best part of it right there.
Oh, no pressure. Bam.
That's so good.
That's what, and that's the kind of thing that if I had said it, people are like, that never happened.
That never happened. Right?
It didn't happen. So we just had to show you that it really did happen. And ooh, that's just wrong.
That's just
know
wrong.
what?
Charles got a great comment here too about another tragedy in Cincinnati was that Les Nessman. Remember the WKRP episode for Thanksgiving?
Dropping the turkeys out of the helicopter.
He comes
What?
back in.
What?
Oh, there was this great WKRP episode where Arthur, the general manager, he wants to do something, so he's going to show him that he knows how to do a station promotion. So it's the WKRP promotion for Thanksgiving, and he doesn't tell him what he's going to do. And so Les is broadcasting live from the promotion, and he says, "Oh, and there's a helicopter above us. Oh, there's it's the WKRP helicopter." And now they are throwing live turkeys out of the helicopter. The turkeys are hitting, and he's describing, you don't see it, but he's describing it. And he instantly goes into the language the guy used during the Hindenburg. Oh, humanity.
I'm going to play it.
And the last phrase of that show is great because the general manager comes back in and just simply says, "With God as my witness, I thought turkeys could fly." It's one of the great episodes of all time. It was
Let me play it.
brilliantly done.
It's only a minute and 20 seconds.
Oh, you got
It's a helicopter, and it's coming this way. It's flying something behind it. I can't quite make it out. It's a large banner, and it says, Happy Thanks Giving from WKRP. What a sight, ladies and gentlemen, what a sight. The copter seems to be circling the parking area now. I guess it's looking for a place to land. No, something just came out of the back of the helicopter. It's a dark object, perhaps a skydiver, plummeting to the earth from only 2,000 feet into the air. Second to the third. There's no parachutes yet. Happy skydivers. I can't tell just yet what they are, but oh my God, they're talking! Sorry, can you get this? Oh, they're crashing to the earth right in front of our eyes. One just went to the windshield of a parked car. This is terrible. The cars running around pushing each other. Oh my goodness! Oh, the humanity! Oh, people are running about. The turkeys are hitting the ground like sacks of wet cement.
The turkeys are hitting the ground like wet cement.
It's clips like that. It's clips like that have me
man.
proud to be associated with the entertainment industry. And I had the privilege of working with Howard Hessman. We actually, we did. I didn't do WKRP, but we guest starred together on an episode of Lie to Me.
Oh, I love that show.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you ever look it up, you can go to IMDb and find out. I don't even remember what season of the show it was, but you'll see Howard and I on the show together. And he was fun. He was fun to work with.
That was always an interesting show to me in that it never, they changed it so much over the course of the seasons. It never, there was times it really hit its stride and then they would alter it somehow. And it never really, but Tim Roth is just fantastic. He's amazing. I don't know what it was like to work with, but good grief. That show had so much potential. It should have, it's funny. There are so many shows that you go, wow, that was just amazing. And there's other shows that just miss it by that. Sound like Don Adams there.
Very well done.
But I mean,
missed it by that much.
But they're so close to being amazing. And there's just something happens.
Here is something that you may find. Let me go ahead and read Patricia's comment.
She said her husband, brilliant, gorgeous husband, is a general surgeon. You cannot imagine the stories he could tell you. Life is interesting.
It certainly is. Hey, let me ask you this, guys. Random question. How long do you think, and do not look it up, do not cheat. If you're watching the show tonight, don't go to your Google search. But how long do you think The Munsters was on the air in its original run on CBS?
2 seasons.
Well, you were too good. It's been not quite 3 seasons. And
Wow.
so it really found its audience
Yeah.
in syndication. And it's truly amazing. And as you know, I was friends with Al Lewis, who played Grandpa on that show. And a lot of people also think that he was an older man who was kind of squatty. You know, he's old, hunched over grandpa. And they're shocked to hear that he was about 6'2". And Al was a tall dude. And he also played grandpa when he was in his mid-40s.
Wow.
Mid-40s. And most people would have guessed him certainly in his late 60s with the character, with makeup and so forth. Just random interesting things.
Car 54, where are you?
Yes,
Right?
with Fred Gwynn. Also.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's so funny because so many younger folks remember Fred Gwynn as the judge in the My Cousin
Vinny.
Yeah.
Yes. You know, this is proof that we will talk about anything.
And
this
we're just
show.
about out of time too here.
Yeah, we've covered some ground.
The show, that's crazy. Wow.
I have no idea, but I watched. What was the comment about the Addams Family?
He watched it. Watched
Oh,
that
every day after school as a kid.
Yeah.
Let's random thought. Let's discuss some cereals of choice. Scott, what was your cereal of choice as a kid?
You first said that, and I'm thinking, well, let's see. The Lone Ranger was a cereal. And I was thinking of cereal television.
No,
shows, you know?
actual breakfast cereal. What did you eat?
Oh, Captain Crunch. was one
Captain
I loved.
Crunch, which used to be known for its unique capacity to remove the entire roof of your mouth.
Yes,
You
exactly.
remember that? Like if you didn't let it soak in the milk for a
Yeah,
solid
it had
5
to soak.
minutes,
Yeah.
the top of your mouth was gone.
And I have to add, I had a second favorite, and that was Tricks. Because
Tricks are for kids. Yes. I was really into Count Chocula.
Oh, Count Chocula.
what I was gonna say.
Were you into Count Chocula?
I mean,
We got some
did-
good ones here too. Oh my gosh, Karen, I hadn't thought about that.
Oh, let's read the cereals that people were into. Robert Brooker says honeycomb.
Honeycomb was good.
Karen Toddy likes Lucky Charms.
They're
You got to
magically
love.
delicious. Right?
Yeah, they're naturally delicious. You got to love the Lucky Charms.
Yeah. Frosted Flakes.
They're great.
Cheerios. Wow. Look at all the comments. Rice Krispie.
Man, I found a fun
Oh.
topic.
Cookie Crisp.
Cookie
I never
Crisp.
even heard of that one, Sean. Sean's my buddy out of Las Vegas. I don't know of
Never
Cookie
had
Crisp.
Cookie Crisp.
Maybe I lived a deprived childhood. I don't know.
Well, they
Oh.
still sell it, I'm pretty sure. So you
I
can
like-
make up for it.
I like Ernest's comment here.
Oh, Corey, you didn't eat Apple Jacks.
He is
Really?
still cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, right? Remember that?
Corey, no offense, but I got to tell you, dude, my mother punished us by buying Apple Jacks. That was a form of punishment. Wow.
What I love.
What other
Fruit
great
Loops.
cereals are on here? Fruit Loops, of course.
We had a
yeah.
thing, and I don't know if this is just the thing where in my town, but on a Ox shirt, that little loop that was on the guys would pull it off of you, like upperclassmen would pull it off of you, just rip that little thing and say that was a Fruit Loop and pull it, rip your shirt and pull it off.
Oh,
That was
wow.
Oh, yes, I remember that. You know, Fruit Loops. Let's go into great detail here before we let the show end. Fruit Loops used to have the capability of producing an extraordinarily flavorful milk. After you had mowed down the cereal,
Yeah.
then you would
Great
pick up
memory.
the bowl and
And
drink the remaining sugar, multicolored milk. Do you remember that? Or am I out of my mind?
Yeah, no,
No, the milk was, yep.
that was awesome.
Oh, this is so cool to see what people are.
Yeah.
Rice
Look what Colin's got. Fruity Pebbles.
Yeah.
Fruity Pebbles. I need my Fruity Pebbles. Somebody give me my Fruity Pebbles. I
That's
love
so
it.
good.
What else do we have? We have Rice Krispies, Snap Crackle Pop. I'll bet you before we close, I'll bet you Scott could sing several different jingles for old commercials. You remember some of the old ads? Like Winston tastes good like a cigarette should. You remember that one?
I can't sing it, but you can take Salem out of the country, but remember,
You can. I remember the jingle.
you can't take the country
Ready?
out
Let
of
me see if I
Salem.
remember. You can take Salem out of the country, but you can't take the country out of Salem. Wasn't that it?
That's
Are we talking
exactly it.
cigarettes?
Yes.
Oh my
Cigarette ads.
Wow.
Yeah.
Or how about the guy who leaned in and went, "I'd walk a mile for a camel." Your younger generation doesn't remember.
I remember. I remember.
Right,
What do you call? I'm not.
buddy. You're not younger generation. You're 51.
I know. Well, didn't you say your
But he
gen-
loves to tell me every show that he'll be 52 in July.
No, didn't you say?
And here's
your
the mailing
younger
address, Glenn.
generation, like referring to me.
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit.
I remember the Marlboro Man. In fact, I believe it was the Marlboro Man that actually convinced me that I needed to be a Marlboro Man.
Oh, hey, Jones got a good one here. There's one that you really got to know.
Where's-
Let's see if Ken knows this.
This?
Jones? No, the other one. It's the letters that Joan has posted there.
Oh, hold on. I saw it. Hold on.
There you go. Do you know what that means, Ken?
It's Lucky Strike something.
Means
No.
fine tobacco.
Ah.
Yeah, listen up
Wow,
there.
Joan. That was wow.
That's a
Well,
great one, Joan. It
I
was on the side of
remember-
every pack because I used to stock them at McCain's Market.
I
Louisville, Indiana.
remember.
Put 'em on this.
I remember stealing cigarettes from my grandfather. They were Pall Malls.
Oh,
That's what we called them. Pall Mall is the actual name, but we called them he called them Pall Malls. Everybody did. And that is a filterless cigarette. And I think the first time that I ever had one, I am fairly certain I vomited. Pretty sure.
Do you remember filter, flavor, pack, or box? You remember that one?
yes, but I can't remember what cigarette that was.
I don't remember which one. I just
But I remember that. Yeah.
flavor, pack, or box.
Wow.
They made it sound like such a happy experience.
Happy that, well, and as a
They
kid,
did.
that was what I wanted was candy cigarettes. I mean, I
Yeah.
walked around with
Don't
candy
think the
cigarettes, so
tobacco
you would act
companies
like you were
weren't behind
smoking.
that.
I'm sorry.
You know they
Don't think
still
the tobacco
sell
companies weren't behind that.
Yeah,
Let's
really
get them going
kidding.
early on, you know.
they still sell those.
Candy
No.
cigarettes. I haven't seen those forever.
They do. I've seen them over here at this place where this little tiny store in the middle of nowhere here.
What was the Virginia Slims? I used to sing that song, and I'm trying to remember any of our
From a
old
long way, baby.
Yeah, you've come a long way, baby,
Yeah.
to get where you've got to today. You've got your own cigarette now, baby. You've come a long, long way.
Wow.
Is it right, Scott? Did I get it?
Yep. Yep.
Thank you for pulling it.
And
Wow.
Benson and Hedges. Remember Benson and Hedges?
Yeah.
Because they were a longer cigarette.
That's what my stepdad, Harry Moorshower, smoked. Benson and Hedges.
It was Benson and Hedges.
Wow.
Yeah.
Lucky
Oh
Strike.
man, that
Jeez. That's
Oh, there's Susan with a smile.
Hey, Susan.
Has Susan been there all the listen, we are one of the few shows that gets to know our audience so well that we know what your choices are in breakfast cereals. You know, I mean, that's just not that common. Is it, gentlemen?
It's
I don't
not.
think so.
No, it's not.
I've had so many folks wave at me on my private, on my
On your
personal-
private?
my private
Really? That's
Facebook
powerful,
page.
Scott.
I gotta tell you,
Hey, there's
it is
still
really cool. And one of the folks that waved at us tonight is a guy named Ken Dilger. And Ken was tight end for the Indianapolis Colts for many years, played with Peyton Manning and played for the Tampa Bay Bucks. when he left and was there for a couple of years. And holy
There's
cow,
Rainey.
we've got a bunch of folks here that are
Wow.
saying
Joe,
hi.
can they
So
not
thanks
get
to-
their comments, Scott?
No.
No, we didn't. They're just coming on, giving a wave and saying hi. But
They're still on our personal pages.
yeah, on the personal page.
Your dad smoked unfiltered Camels. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. Wow.
Again, you were younger. Karen
Well,
said, "Should we-
gentlemen-
happy birthday, Karen. Happy birthday, honey.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Karen. Well, guys,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's that time. We've come to the end of yet another great Sunday evening.
It's been just relaxing and fun tonight.
it has been.
I want to throw a quick question out before we close to the audience, which is, do you guys have a preference? Because we are a kind of create it as we go type show, and we do love having guests, and certainly we have a wide array of potential guests at any time. We have an extensive relationship capital database, and but some weeks we just choose to do our own thing, and tonight we chose to do our own thing. And I'm wondering if you guys have a preference. Since we're not on network television, we can have you help us design this. Do you like when we have guests? Do you love when we have guests? Do you love it when it's just the three of us? How do you feel? Drop a 1, right, Ken? Isn't that what you say? Drop a 1.
Yeah.
Or do you have a preference? Or do you like us just to surprise you week to week?
So give them 3 different options, and they can drop a 1.
Okay, tell them what the options are, Ken. Go.
You tell them.
Well, option 1 is if you're purists, then it's just the three of us. And option 2 would be that we could have a guest every week. Option 3 is that we could have guests intermittently. So we could have one every other week or whenever we damn well please. So what Susan says, surprise us. Some more votes in. Oh, Julie is a purist. She likes it just us.
Karen would
Karen
love
likes guests.
Joan says surprise us.
That's 2 for that one.
Here's a good answer. I like that answer.
I like you guys with guests occasionally. And option 4, I guess, would be as little of the three of us as is possible.
Can someone take over the show for you next week?
Yes, option 4 is 3 brand new hosts every week. And we keep the show's name, but the guys' names are not Ken, Glenn, and Scott at all.
It's the Bob and Steve show with a guy named Mike.
So it sounds like intermittent guests are
good.
and with a surprise are kind of where our fan base is. Does that seem correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
One was during the first round.
fully interactive with the audience show, anniversary show. Okay,
I would say, look, if you have suggestions and feedback and, you want, go over to the Facebook page, the Ken and Glenn show with a guy named Scott, like the page. And if you're still on, if you're still over on my personal page or Scott's personal page, please go over to our page, the show page on Facebook. Look it up just in the search bar and drop some comments in there. Just send us messages in there directly on the page or whatever as to things, ideas that you have. If you know somebody, which we all know celebrities, these two guys know far more than I do. But we know celebrities, we can invite those people on, but maybe you know somebody super famous with a really cool story that would be a good guest for us to have. I'm speaking for all three of us right now, but I feel comfortable doing that at least on this topic. We're open to suggestions from everybody because we want this to be about.
Well, we are open and it's a yes, and it also needs to fit within kind of our vision of what the show is. Hey, I know we're wrapping up, but Jeffrey Wolf, this is wild. He says the coupons from Raleigh and Bel Air cigarettes that could use to buy stuff from them.
Yeah.
Their gift catalog, smoke enough to get 10,000 stamps for a new coffee table.
Yeah.
It was there. And at our little grocery store, we used to give out S&H green
Oh,
stamps.
yes. S&H.
Remember that?
And
And
Plaid-
you
there
fill
was
up your
also-
book with S&H green stamps.
And wasn't there one called Plaid stamps
Yep.
also?
That was their competition. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there were the only two stamps. Oh, my God. We really are from the same era.
Oh, man.
Yeah. I remember.
Well, is that a wrap, gentlemen?
I think
That's
it's a wrap,
a wrap.
guys.
Hey, thank you to everybody who's been here and shared this out.
The wave.
You all rock.
We love you
Scott,
guys. Thank you.
out.
Have a beautiful week, gentlemen.
Scott, take us away.
Thank you for watching the Ken and Glenn Show with a guy named Scott. We'll see you again next week right here. Thanks for watching.